I mean,
Okay, you're live or
I'm
what?
live. I think I'm live. We're live. We together.
Okay.
Hi. Hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Ruin Ortega, and this is our first session for what we are calling the Society, a Call of Cthulhu actual play live here on Twitch. And yeah, we're gonna just jump into things and get into all the crazy, sanity-inducing goodness. But first of all, I'm going to introduce all of the lovely people who are joining me tonight. I will say that we are missing one player, and that's on purpose, and that will be my co host Cade, who is normally here on the channel with me, but he'll be joining us for session two. And so we're actually going to start with Affy. Affy, who are you?
I'm Affy. That's me. I am the community manager of the Vactair. You'll see a couple people here that are also from the Vactair. That's live. We don't know where she came from. I am the DM on Monday nights for our Mistwalkers campaign, which is another horror campaign. So if horror is your jam, come and watch it. I'm also in uh, Artemis's 65 game on Fridays, and I do a fun game on Sundays with Jeremy over on his channel, Blood in the Six, right now. And we're also alternating Wednesdays to this over on Golden Games Official for our Mutant Hosses game. So I'm kind of all over the place.
You absolutely are. You do way too much. And joined with you, usually in doing way too much, is Artemis.
It's true.
I'm Artemis. I'm Effie's Shadow. I just kind of live in the back there. I'm the social media manager and content coordinator over there. And yeah, I'm just kind of there.
Artemis is usually behind all of the social media accounts, doing everything and making sure that all of their lovely weekly posts are done. Usually hounding me as just a special guest that gets to tag along and kind of advertise our stuff too. So yeah, thank you, Artemis, for being here too. And let's go down here to Sly.
I'm Paul. I materialized as a back there out of nowhere, and Effie is so confused about that.
Who is
I don't
talking right now?
I don't know. It's just that. I play on Mondays with the Mistwalkers, and I'm everyone's favorite shoe throwing people.
Awesome. And Sly, we have gamed less together than anybody else on this stream right now, but our last chance was at a Cthulhu game, so I'm looking forward to kind of returning to that.
It was so good. I loved it.
Wonderful. And of course, we're going to go over here to Jeremy from Old Men Rolling Dice.
Well, that's just it. I'm Jeremy from Rolling Dice. One of the new fancy titles everyone be everything.
That guy.
Everything, everything. You just have to podcast, stream, Instagram,
And
anything for fancy fantastic.
yeah, and like one of the first internet type people that I met through the tabletop scene, and just like your kind of your name promotes, you're into all the old school stuff. You know, like your podcast primarily focuses on first and second edition D&D and the history behind it.
Yeah, we're doing kind of a niche there with our mission, and even though I would say even though that I like the old school games, and then there's a couple newer games that I'm kind of falling in love with my entire gaming history. Yeah, so anything game related to me would be good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, Jeremy. And yeah, I'm Ruin Ortega, like I said, from Cantrips and Coffee. We are primarily a tabletop role playing review podcast, but we occasionally do things like this. And it's been my dream to do a Cthulhu stream for a while. So we're just going to see what kind of chaos we can get into because I have very little planning into this. Let's just wing it. Um, yeah, but with that, we are going to get into our prologue episode, and so that is why Cade can get away with not joining us tonight, is because we're going to throw him in as a plot device, and hopefully his character makes it alive or he's re-rolling. But with that, let's begin. So, our characters, in some way or another, have been invited to John Winscott's property in New England. And John Winscott is from a proud and once wealthy New England stock. He makes a living writing magazine articles on a variety of subjects, supplemented by occasional short stories. One or more of the investigators know him, or they know his other acquaintance, Charles. And Charles has already been invited to Josh's house and has been spending a couple days there at least. Now, however you might know him, Winscott is known to be a relatively friendly person, and he has at least trusted the people he has invited, or the people that Charles has invited, with some exciting discoveries he's made recently. You see, he's inherited a house, and you've learned that he has discovered something incredible that he wishes for everyone to see. The house is on College Hill and nestled among other residences surviving from the 18th and 19th centuries. Its two stories can be found at 79 Power Street, overgrown bushes and trees obscuring its dilapidation. When you knock on the door creaks open. Investigators who call out to him soon find an apologetic reply. It sounds like it's coming from below, and he shouts up to them to come on in. Investigators, as you enter the doorway, why don't you all tell us your connections to either Josh or Charles?
I met Charles when we were working on a case together. He had some interesting sort of philosophy on these very odd cases I was getting across my table that were covered in markings. Couldn't identify them. Couldn't identify cause of death either, which is very strange. And that's how we met.
And naturally, when Charles hears word of an interesting investigation, an interesting occurrence, he's invited you to join him on his trip to see Josh, saying, I'll be gone a couple days ahead of you, and you can come along whenever you're ready. It might be nothing, or maybe it's something related. He didn't really know what it was that he'd discover. Now, Afi, can you also introduce our character, or your character?
Yes, I am playing Dr. Dottie Hamilton. She is a PhD and a forensic surgeon who is the city coroner. Because at the time, women were not allowed to practice on bodies, or real people. So, forensics is where it's at, and that's what she does. She prefers it that way because dead men don't scream.
Well, you hope they don't.
Usually. If they do, then somebody messed up. Dottie is about 36, single, 5'3", plump around all the right spots, and short black bobbed hair. Is that it?
Wonderful. Thank you, Afi. Next for introductions. Hey, Jeremy. Oh.
I'm Emerald Reynolds, and I am an actress. I live in LA, but I'm from Texas, and I met Josh 2 years back when he did an article on me, and kind of helped me with some strange things happening out there.
And that was Josh that you had met? Yeah. And you've known Josh to throw these parties every once in a while, pretty extravagant, and yet this is the first time he's had his own larger property, of course, just having inherited it. And so he invited you because, you've always had a hand in his social gatherings, and he's got to know you over some time. And this really seemed out of character for him to be saying to keep this a secret. I mean, normally Josh is known to want to spread word around about, all the things he's got going on. Anything else you want to say about Emma?
She's 25. She's got long, sort of dirty blonde hair, green eyes. Just a baby.
Awesome. Thank you, Artemis. Sly.
Hello, my name is Riley, and I work with many different types of people on many different projects, but unfortunately for everyone else, I'm paid much more to keep quiet than I've ever been offered to talk.
And what connection do you have?
Don't think I've been paid enough to talk about that yet, but I do know Charles.
Okay, perfect. So, some mysterious connection to Charles, which has entitled him to ask you to come along to see just whatever it is that his friend has discovered. Anything else you'd like to say about Wiley?
Pretty standard looking blonde hair, not very tall. Doesn't stand out very much.
Well, considering you like to keep secrets, that seems important. Thank you, Sly. And last but certainly not least, Jeremy.
He did of me, hunting in the South Africa. America learning over from me, so to speak.
And, it's not exactly known for its, exotic animals, but there are big game to hunt here, and so maybe you could try your hand at those. But curiously enough, Josh forgot that you were coming, and he might have made the appointment before whatever it was that he discovered. And so, as all of you walk in through the front door, the minute that you get into what is the kitchen area, you see that Josh is coming up the stairs, and all around you appears to be all sorts of building materials and tools for construction. And, well, it's immediately clear that he was working on something in the basement. And he soon, says hello to everybody. He apologizes most, I guess, egregiously to James, who he completely forgot was coming, and said, James, I'm sorry. The article is going to have to wait, but you know what? I'll make it up to you. If you can keep a secret, I'll show you exactly what I've found. And he leads you all into the sitting area, and he begins smoking a Turkish cigarette, and he kind of chuckles and says, you're all going to want to see this. But, let's just take a break for a while. I've been up all night with it. You see, I've made a discovery. Well, it's quite something quite big.
Surely you can't make us wait much longer.
Well, and he looks at the the clock on the wall, and he says, I really don't like to work into the evening, and so I'll tell you what. We'll get started on what I have immediately tomorrow, but I'll tell you all about it right now so that I don't keep you in suspense because I know that you're dying to know. And he takes a nice long drag on his Turkish cigarette and blows it out slowly. He says, I've made a discovery.
So you've mentioned.
Mm-hmm. You see, I was attempting to put up a new wine rack in the cellar when my hammer pushed a brick through what should have been dirt, through the sidewall of the house. I have discovered tunnels underneath my house. I had workers with me, of course. Italians, they do the best of work. But I sent them away. You see, it occurred to me. New England has a large history of the slave trade, and I believe I've found slave tunnels. The ones that they were smuggling people after Lincoln's end to slavery.
Checking messages real quick.
Is that common here?
Tunnels beneath the city. Let's do it.
You mean like a cave?
So,
It's not implausible.
Affy, I'm just going to pause the game. How does one do that? I apologize to chat. I'm glad that you can hear me. I am not the one who normally runs the stream. That is Cade, who is absent. So we're going to blame this on him. But I need to turn up the volume of everyone else.
Okay, so you should have on the one side of your Streamlabs at the bottom, there should be your output and your input volume. Like the sound bars that go up.
I have the sound bars, yeah.
Okay, so when I'm talking, you're gonna mutz about with it until we're basically maintaining like bottom, middle, yellow.
Bottom, middle, yellow. Okay.
Yeah, so when I'm talking and the bar goes up, it should go into like this low range yellow at like the height.
Okay, now if it's saying they're all capped out, all the sliders, but there's one. What about my desktop audio? Do I want my desktop audio?
That might do it, yeah. And then just turn your headphone volume down if we're too loud for you.
Okay, I've got the desktop audio all the way up.
Bananas. Still really quiet.
Okay. It's very possible that I have to.
You could also right click on each of the pictures and
Crank our volume individually.
in Discord and help out and
How is.
We're gonna blast out room viewers.
if you right click on each of those in Discord.
Oh, that's not what I want to do. That is what I want to do. I mean,
Oh my God,
you can
so
be.
big on the screen.
So you can be the star of the show.
Aren't I always?
How's that?
No, we're still really quiet. Might have to go into your actual user settings in Discord.
Okay.
Voice and video. What's your output device at and the volume?
Oh, I got you there. Okay. And then I have to change. I got you. One sec. I can do this. How's that? Try talking.
Hello. Oh, wow. Yep. Heard myself now.
Hello?
All right. Chat,
Hi,
There
sorry.
you are.
You
Oh,
might have
there
to
you
turn
are.
us back down a little bit individually.
Gosh dang it.
Technology.
I'm so loud.
This is fantastic.
I'm glad that it's not just the Vocteer that has tech issues when they stream.
My best friend is saying that we're all clear now. She can hear us.
Okay, I just normalized everybody back to 100.
Yeah, I think we're good now.
Alright, okay, here we go. Alright, I lost all concentration.
Should we start over maybe?
We can start over. Do they need us to start over? I feel like they heard me, so let's start over with let's just start over with a reintroduction of everybody's characters. We'll double time it. So, Avi, go ahead.
I am playing Dr. Dottie Hamilton now that I've actually sorted out my accent and I know what I'm doing. So the first
What
bit
accent
was
is that?
misnomer. It is traditional English with no actual source because that would be too difficult
Right.
and I don't care that much. So, I am Dr. Dottie Hamilton. I'm a forensic surgeon and the coroner of Boston, Massachusetts, because women are not allowed to practice on live specimens. Instead, we are relegated to the dead, and it's either easier that way because they do not scream, typically. I've met Charles he is a journalist and I'm the coroner, so any sort of odd bits and pieces that come in, literally and figuratively, we work together to try and solve the riddle of those body parts. Sometimes it doesn't work out so well for us, but we've tried. Dottie is about 5'3", plump in all the right places, and black hair in a short bob, as is the style of the time, and relatively fashionable.
Perfect. Thank you, Afi. Artemis.
Yeah, I'm playing Emma Reynolds, and she's from Texas, and she's about 25 years old. She's an actress, moved out to LA, and she's got sort of long, dirty blonde hair, green eyes, and she met Josh when he came out and did an article on her for his magazine. That's how they met. Sort of helped her with some strange things that went on a set one time.
Perfect. Sly.
My name is Wiley, and I do a lot of different work for a lot of different people. However, unfortunately for everybody, I am paid a lot more to keep quiet than I've ever been offered to talk. I have blonde hair, I'm short-ish. I don't stand out very much. I'm pretty quiet, especially in the line of work that I do. And I don't have an accent because I can't do accents.
That's okay. Nobody.
Neither can we.
You know what? The greatest actors don't do accents, so you don't have to.
That's true.
Chat, how's
Usually
my
they're
voice?
British, though.
Me and Effie will switch accents at least 3 times throughout the session, so it's fine.
Perfect.
Say something.
Is it better?
Just a little, like up a little bit more, and you'll be fine.
Okay. How's that?
Okay.
You can also just talk into it more.
Yeah, do that.
Do that?
That's
Does that work?
perfect.
Just go right into it. I can get real intimate with this.
Just like make out with it. Just
Yeah, just make out with
Listen,
your
we
microphone.
already talked off stream about how that's I'm okay. ASMR is not where we need to go with this.
Welcome to Call of Cthulhu.
You need more tongue in there, Jeremy. All right. With that, it's your turn.
Right, I'm playing Captain James Harrington II from England. I'll try to talk like I have marbles in my mouth. I know good old Josh from... He's inviting me to do a little expose in one of his magazines about big game hunting, and I have some experience in that. I didn't mention this sort of in my preamble, so I might as well do it now. James is not really a young man. He's in his late 30s. And he has some very strange staining or discoloration of his skin. Not right up on his face, but back towards the edges when you start to get back towards the ear line. There's sort of a yellowy browning that happens to his skin. It's on his hands as well. And, yeah.
Chad is
now I
roasting
simply
you.
must determine what that is.
Chad is roasting you for saying that 30s is ancient, but yeah, as
Okay.
somebody in their 30s, I agree with that, so I'm going to let it happen.
Me too.
Same
Not-
though.
Not many. All I meant was that, maybe not. Are all of our characters a little later in life?
36.
5.
Oh, I'm 38. Okay, we're good. Never mind. I
Later in
apologize.
life? What is this?
I mean,
Well,
we
like
could
a lot
sort
of
of
characters
see
are
it.
made.
Like World War II, a lot of people died.
James should be married.
It's also
with
1950s.
James should be married with children by now, according to the times, and he's not.
That is true. That is true.
Same with Dottie, though. She's an absolute old hag at this point.
Clearly, we heard your parents' scores.
Rude.
All right, well, with that, we're going to go back.
It's okay, I'm smart.
I'm here for the audience to hate, by the way, so I'm okay with that.
Oh, that's a
That's
sad
the kind of
existence.
character. I think that's the kind of character James is going to be, unfortunately. Anyways, carry on, Josh.
All
Tunnels, basement, not sewers.
Yeah.
Slave trade.
Yeah, and he basically says, "But I'm far too exhausted. Like I said, I've been up all night because I was so excited. I basically got the wall torn down, but I think we need to wait until tomorrow." And so
Maybe
there's
you
no
have
else.
some of that dreadful tea you Americans pass off as drinkable. I could make a pot, maybe.
Absolutely.
Isn't it positively dreadful? What they call tea here.
I agree. You're from England yourself.
Yes, London.
I'm from London as well.
Oh,
Maybe
imagine
the
that.
Harringtons?
Should I have?
Well, I suppose not. I thought there was well,
Have you heard
Never
of the
mind.
Hamiltons?
didn't they sail across a river or something here?
Oh, maybe. But the ones in London were quite shit.
You're self-deprecating on your own family.
Indeed.
Dreadful. Tea?
Yes, please. Good English tea.
Josh, maybe I could make that for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. It's somewhere over there. And he kind of points and he says, "I'm going to be honest, it's whatever was in the old place. I really haven't had time to make anything new."
How fortunate for us. I'll fold my jacket politely on the armrest of a chair or something, and I'll go to try to find what these Americans call a teapot. Kettle.
Yeah, sure enough, you find a cupboard, and it has some loose tea, and you're able to find a diffuser with it. It's probably just Earl Grey, let's be honest.
Good enough. I get going as my gran taught me how to make tea.
And Josh, meanwhile, hands around cigarettes to everybody who would want one.
No, thank you. I've seen what these do to your lungs.
Oh, that's an old wives' tale, but well enough.
Tell that to the gentleman I dissected last week.
Ooh, gruesome.
I suppose.
Dissected? Are you some sort of mad scientist or something?
A forensic surgeon, actually. The county coroner.
Dead. You work with dead people.
Yes. Someone has to.
I suppose that's true.
Sly, You take notice that there was supposed to be another guest here, and yet you don't see them.
Was there supposed to be someone else here?
And Josh, who really only just met your acquaintance, goes, "Oh, Charles?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he had someplace to be, he said. I'll be honest, he's been gone all day. I expected to see him back by now, but, I'm sure he'll be along whenever he can."
Hmm. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
How's that tea coming?
Patience.
It's probably about
Good
half
things
boiled
come-
by now.
Good things come to those who wait, after all.
It's just a touch awkward out here with the actress.
So I carry the tea and I'll be like... I would have assumed someone that worked with the dead would have more patience, to be honest.
No, everything is on my schedule, so
Also,
That's why-
I can't argue.
I served
Precisely.
under a lieutenant marshal, very much like that.
where did you serve exactly?
The King's Army.
Precisely where? What front? What
Pauses a
division?
moment. You can tell he's maybe not entirely comfortable talking about this. Then he says, the Great War. And the Boer War before that.
So did I. In my own way.
Of course. Everyone served in their own way. Nothing to be ashamed of.
Have you ever had to amputate a limb from someone who is still awake?
It's really tea conversation? I mean,
I'm just curious if you think I was some doddering old housewife sitting at home rationing.
I'm into hearing more about the amputation. I'm curious.
is that what you take me for?
Well, you seem to be judgy of my line of work.
And he's seeing the kind of tension that's brewing. Josh kind of interposes himself and says, hey, it's all right. Everybody has their work. Everybody has their history. Take this house, for instance. It has a history related to my family, and I'll be honest, I know nothing about it.
Slavers, were you, Josh?
Well,
2 sugars?
you know what? You better make it 3. I'm a little tired.
I'll dole out the tea to anyone who'd like.
I'm very happily taking some tea and test it immediately for goodness.
Roll me a spot hidden, Alfie.
Oh, balls. What is my spot hidden? Okay. So I got a 14?
14. So would that be is that a hard success or just a regular success?
That is a good question.
So is it
It's
below the half?
below the half, but above the fifth.
The 5th. So it's a hard success.
Okay.
Yeah, tea tastes like shit. Yeah,
I
but
take,
it's,
like-
it's just old.
Just a couple extra lumps of sugar and hope that helps.
To answer your question, James, I'm really unsure about the slave angle. I mean, that seems what it seems like with those tunnels, but at the same time, I love everybody. I'm not racist, so why would my uncles be? But it's been here forever, and supposedly it's been in my uncle's possession for hundreds of years. Not that I would know anything about that. I mean, I'm not exactly the type to do research, right? I write my exposés, and that's based off of collecting very little information. And he looks at Emma and he says, sorry.
Hard feelings, darling.
Since that's why I was here, I'm mildly insulted by that.
Is there like an insight check or something that I can do on this guy?
You can absolutely make a perception, or sorry, a psychology roll. Psychology is the stat for checking to see if people's intentions.
Okay. I got a 20. Am I reading this right? A 20. Yeah, 27. And my cap is 30.
Yes.
That-
Yeah, 27 out of 30.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm reading. Psychology 30, 15, 6.
Yep, that is
So-
a success. Yeah, I mean, you can. Are you looking to see if he's lying about this?
Yeah, he just seemed a little.
Oh, he's
I don't know,
definitely
fibby.
he's definitely flippant, but he's not lying. He appears to be honest. He hasn't looked into it. He doesn't actually care about his family. Anybody who might know him a little bit more personally would suspect that he tries to keep a distance from the old family name. He's probably heard some things, but doesn't actually know if they're true.
Gotcha. Okay.
So where might this tunnel lead?
Well, it probably leads to the ocean or something. You know, I'll be honest, there's probably a map downtown or something. But as soon as this tea is done...
A map for these tunnels.
Well, you know,
Possible.
a map of the surrounding area at the very least. Anybody with a good sense of direction might be able to figure it out.
Could be priest hole, what they called it back home.
So that's
Just
it.
an escape route for wealthy families or fathers, as it were.
It could be. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know. I could probably check out the library, but you know, it's not really my bag. I'm gonna see. Here's the thing. I don't want to get a whole bunch of people down here who might be wanting to, you know, take it off my hands or force me to give it to the town or something like that. So I'm personally not going to be going out and running my mouth about it.
What's your intention then? What are you implying?
I'm thinking there might be something down there worth bringing back up here. Something maybe wealthy. And who knows, maybe if there's nothing down there, maybe if it is just some old slave tunnels, then, you know, who cares? Then I'll give it back to the town and hopefully they'll let me keep the house, or maybe they'll give me a different house for it. I don't really know. But if there's a chance to get rich, I want that first shot.
So, what are you implying?
Well, that there might be treasure down there.
Yes, but are you implying that we go down there and get it for him?
I'm saying that, like, it wouldn't make sense for me to go by myself, and that, I mean, perhaps we all go together. I mean, quite honestly, James, I forgot that you were coming, so you're just happenstance, but you're here and I'm excited, so why not? Maybe it'll fund your next big adventure.
In a slave tunnel.
Well, if there's treasure down there, think of the big picture here, James.
Did the American slavers carry a lot of treasure? Am I missing something?
Well, they would have had economy. The slaves were worth money, and they were trying to keep it secret from the government, so it's very possible that they kept their storage down there as well as using it for passage to the sea.
Boston, right?
This is New England,
Okay. Well,
which at the time
wouldn't it
was
be
like...
more likely that it was a part of the Underground Railroad?
Oh, no. If there's one thing I know, it's that at this time, New England was like the biggest port for slaves.
All right.
I'll tell you what.
Well, I'm not going into a tunnel to make you rich, Josh.
Well, you're going to make yourself rich too, James. At least that's the hope.
I don't really need money. Suppose.
here's the deal. And he takes a big swig and finishes off the tea before, probably a lot harder than he should have, slamming the mug down and says, here's the deal. I'm going to go get some sleep. 7 a.m., I'm going in that tunnel. He looks again at the clock on the wall, and you can see that it's roughly 5 p.m., so he's obviously going to bed quite early. And he says, you guys can sit here all you want and think about the possibility. You can go out, you can dig up whatever research you want to find at the library, and if you're here at 7 a.m. when I go to dig, you can come with me. And if you're not, then I just assume that you've found better things to do and that you'll gladly keep this a secret so that I can hopefully strike it rich while the rest of you miss out. And with that, he kind of smirks and he excuses himself.
Quite the cocky one, isn't he?
What is he gonna do if there's nothing down there?
I assume starve to death. I'm interested. I don't know about the rest of you, but
Never could say no to an adventure.
Well, I'm intrigued, but I hardly think that a man that's willing to push 3 women ahead of him down a tunnel that he doesn't know where it goes or what's down there.
I'm not afraid. I grew up in Texas. That's nothing.
everyone has a gun in Texas.
That's
Really?
true. Even I have a gun.
I mean, I do as well, but it's a matter of
Oh,
self-protection.
You all have guns.
Yes.
The stories that I heard of this land are coming truer every day. Every day.
I don't.
This-
You would be surprised who would like to break into a morgue.
Point out for the audience that I am the only American here.
There's a whole lot of assumptions being made here.
I mean, so far you're not wrong.
I feel like we
Out
need a
of
tally.
character.
Every time
You're
we
the
get
only
one right,
American here.
Artemis hits a tally.
Imagine if they had to take a shot every time we were right.
You gotta
They'd already
die.
We wouldn't make it through this house.
We know what our good doctor does. What about the two of you? What sort of skills do you possess? What would want you going spelunking into these old caves beneath this house, if that's what they are? I mean, you have a gun. You're from Texas. What of you, Wiley? What sort of skills do you possess?
Are you gonna pay me to tell you?
I think it would benefit all of us if we knew what we could or what we excelled at, especially if we're going down some dark, dank place.
I'm quiet. I'm observant.
So you get paid for being quiet and observant? And you, is it Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
What is
Tell
it
me.
what is it you do?
I stand in front of a camera and look pretty, of course.
Oh, an actress.
Yep.
He's hired quite the crack team to go down there then.
What, like, aren't you like a hunter or something? Like you hunt elephants or something? Why are you here?
A man was writing an article on big game hunting, and I've done some. Elephants, rhinos, lions, tigers, bears, that sort of thing.
So talking to an interviewer is your skill that's going to help us down?
Well, I can shoot. I was in the military. I have a general sense of strategy, tactics, that sort of thing.
That's true.
I mean, I'm certainly more than willing to walk on this Mr. Josh. He's kind of a strange fellow, if you ask me. But
Aren't you
I would hate
curious
anything
what he
to happen.
found?
Not really. It's not what I'm here for.
What are you here for?
In America?
Yeah.
Well, I've encountered some things in my travels, and my understanding is that the libraries here in Arkham may possess some knowledge for me understanding what it was I saw out there.
What did
But I
you
thought-
see?
I'm really not sure.
Well, you're speaking to the right person.
Am I?
Indeed. What did you see? Explain it.
Sorry, I kept saying you guys were in New England. This is like my lack of geography for the states. It's Providence, Rhode Island, more specifically.
Oh, I thought we were in Arkham.
So we were really far north.
I
Okay.
thought we were in Boston, so
I did too. I thought we were in Boston.
No, you guys
I thought we were
have
in Arkham.
traveled a little ways for this. A little ways.
Well, anyways, that doesn't change why I'm here. That is why I'm here.
I thought you said Weast.
Well, I too have seen some strange things on the battlefield, and many times soldiers would come in raving of strange happenings on the battlefield. What did you see?
As I barely know you, I wouldn't like to speak out of turn, and you think I'm a madman.
Madness is
Or-
subjective.
Is it now?
Indeed. What may be mad to me may be completely sane to Wiley, or vice versa.
Also, is it not kind of insane that we're at this random house, like talking about how we're going to go down into tunnels that we know nothing about?
Strange. I'm not sure I'd call that insane.
Maybe it's a trap.
You think Mr. Justin means us ill?
No, I'm just saying maybe. I feel like it's kind of slightly crazy to just be like casually, yeah, sure, we'll follow this person down into the tunnels. So my point is, I don't think we're going to think you're insane.
Well, my business is my own for now.
Very well. Not all of us are open books.
How did you put it, Wiley? Maybe I just haven't gotten paid enough yet.
And with that,
Well, either way, we can go and investigate.
you guys have managed to spend about an hour of time talking through your various lives and your connections here and how strange it is or is not. But what plan do you actually possess?
I would actually like to go and check out library or like a community development department to get blueprints or research on what may lie beneath.
Affy, go ahead and give me a no roll, which is just your education.
Ew, where did I put my dice?
I did it as well. I'm fairly educated.
Yeah, go for it.
No, my just education? Okay. 85, and my education's at 90.
Perfect. You would know that the local library is the John Hay Library, but there's also the Providence Athenaeum, which is a private lending library known for its beautiful Greek revival structure. It was built in the 1800s. It would have a ton of historical records, but it probably does charge a pretty hefty fee to go into there. It's a membership fee. But both are, viable research places.
If it's access you need to that, I might be able to help with that.
Indeed. Beauty talks as much as money does. Anyone else?
I've got both.
Does anyone else wish to come with us?
I think I'm going to go and pick up some supplies.
See you in the morning, then.
Right.
It's a
Cheerio.
good plan. I
Take
think
care
I'll
of
go
yourself.
with you. If that's,
Me?
if that's okay with you.
Yes, I suppose so.
All right. Well,
I have a car outside if you'd like to come.
you split off into two separate groups, with Dottie and Emma going to. Are you going to the Athenaeum or the library?
The library.
The library, perfect. You head off to the John Hay Library, and then James and Wiley go off to the local hardware store. During this time, James and Wiley, why don't you just compose a list of items that you think you might need for going into some tunnels underneath a house, and I will come back to you to discuss whether they're available or not. Now, Dottie and Emma, you get into the library. You can see that it is open up late, so you will be able to spend all the time you need to research. But I think the most fitting thing for us to do right now is you might as well hit me with either library use rolls or history rolls to see what you can find.
I'll be back in like 2 seconds if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Library use or history?
History, yeah.
Oh, no. 48, but my library use is 40, so that's a failure,
Okay.
I think.
Rolled a 35 and my library use is a 50.
Okay, I'm going to deal with Alfie's first here. So, Alfie, as you might be aware, there are two different ways that you can manipulate rolls in Call of Cthulhu. So, the first is that you can use luck, which you can spend 1 point of your luck per point in order to make that a success. So, you rolled a 30. Sorry, which?
I rolled a 48, and my use is 40, so I'd have to spend 8
8
points.
points of luck, which not really that bad. It's not above 10, which tends to get where it gets stiff. Or you can do what's called pushing the roll. Pushing the roll, the first roll still counts, and so you have to tell me what you do differently in order to find new success. Now, if you roll again and you succeed, great. However, if you fail, the consequences can be worse. In something like a library use roll, chances are you just spend a few extra hours trying to find the information that you're looking for if you fail. So I'll let you decide what you're going to do, but I'm going to go over to Artemis, who had a successful, was it a library use or a history roll there, Artemis?
Library use.
Perfect. So the first thing that you find is you do actually find a lot of information on the fact that Rhode Island was possibly the largest slave trade port. And that despite emancipation, the ownership of slaves continued into the 1840s, so quite late. They were primarily first sold in the West Indies and brought back to Rhode Island to work on the plantations. And then after that, they basically, once the expiration of trade was assigned to 1806, they began shipping as many slaves as they could as quickly as possible. And so even though obviously conditions of slavery were poor, it got even worse during those last few years. The next thing that you find is the name John Brown. Now, John Brown was tried in 1796 for violating the slave trade laws, but he was found not guilty. A year later, he was tried again, and his ship, which was named Hope, was confiscated. The Brown family of Providence had been successfully involved in the slave trade for decades and become one of the region's most prominent merchants. And in fact, Rhode Island University was renamed Brown University in honor of their donations. I would assume that you shared all that information with Dottie right away. So, Dottie, where are you at with your role?
I think I'm going to try and push it just because it's low risk. Let's see how that goes. And I got a 30. So I pushed it.
Perfect. Yeah, so using kind of that information that Emma had given you, you also find more about John Brown and the fact that over the years there's been a discovery of drainage tunnels bricked over cold storage rooms under some of the houses on College Hill, which is exactly where Josh's house was. It's stoked some speculation that they were actually being used to smuggle slaves directly to the waterfront in the middle of the night where people couldn't see. In fact, it was wide enough for, 2 grown men to crawl through is usually what these tunnels were built like. And putting that information all together, the two of you find a letter. Now, I'm going to read it out loud to you. The letter that you find is from, is written from a Mr. Jacob Bishop. And curiously enough, you found connection between those houses and a last name of Winscott. And the letter is dated January 5th, 1811. And it begins, Dear Philip, it is with immeasurable sadness that I tell you that Elijah Winscott has passed from this world and is now losing arms of our Lord. Sorry, I just want to zoom in a bit. We had known that he was not in good health for some years in both his body and spirit. He had made it most hard to know his troubles, for he had quit the company of his fellows. I did visit him in his country house, where he had lived for some years now, and as he lay in his sickbed, he broke his silence and told me a tale that I cannot properly reckon. I do not rightly know if I should tell it to you now, but I know you'd be worried greatly for our friend. He recalled to me that 15 years past, he had pondered how we might continue our trade, which had served us so well. The hateful laws against our livelihood and the troubles that beset good John Brown caused him no end of upset. Well, I remember, as you must, Elijah's character and speaking in the tavern during this time. We thought it idle fancy and too much drink. We all of us laughed to hear him speak of how we should dig tunnels neath the town. We did not know then that 'twas not idle fancy altogether. We did not know that he had been making plans in secret. For when the cellar neath Elijah Winscott's home was laid, a tunnel was found. This tunnel did go close to the river, and it was no matter to dig it yet closer. He would use this passage to shepherd slaves to and from the town. All had been set, and Elijah did not wait happy in his home for his men to bring him his slaves. But they did not come. When he began to wonder what had kept them, he and the men he had to hand went down to see what they might find. They found death. In straining voice he told me of parts of men strewn like rags across the tunnel, white man and slave alike. He could not be sure, for he did not linger, but he did think that not all men were accounted for, nor did he note anything of the slave women. But where could the others have gone, and what had come for them? The shadows of the caverns did seem to leer out at him, keeping the mystery from him. Quickly he returned, and quickly he made walls of strong brick beneath his home and near the river to keep out whatever may be below. He knew no rest from that day forward, certainly not while he remained in the house. All we knew then was that he fell ill and spoke no more of schemes to thwart the laws. From his sickbed at the end of his life, he said that chasms plunged deep beneath the town he had quit. He peered out of his window at the swaying red maple trees and seemed to calm. I can only think that this country house was some peace to him as he breathed his last. May his heirs have better fortune in that house in Providence than he. With sincere esteem, Jacob Bishop.
Quite vile, your slave trade it once was.
Yeah, dark stain on our history. Sure.
And with
Although...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, we're just gonna... You're good.
I was just saying, and with that, let's go back to Jeremy and Sly, who have been compiling a list for supplies that they might take into the tunnels.
Would you like the list?
Sure.
We've compiled rope, lanterns and lamp oil, shovel, pick, some canteens with water, obviously, not empty canteens. Snacks, food.
Good English tea.
Helmets, if we can get them. Something to protect our noggins with, and some chalk.
Yeah, you'd be able to find some construction helmets. They're good old metal ones with a little bit of cotton lining on the inside.
Okay. James has a little bit of money, so he'll pay for everything, but he'll keep meticulous receipts, as he intends to charge Josh for everything.
Wonderful, as he should. And Affy and Artemis, was there anything else that you were trying to find at the library?
Not the library, but if there were, unless the city records are there.
There would be city records. It's attached into the same building. So what are you trying to find there?
At this point, probably more information on John Brown, Elijah Winscott, and just generally the Brown and Winscott family lines.
Go ahead and roll me a library use again, or a history, either one.
Plus, they're just
14.
Oh, excellent.
Which is, I'm pretty sure hard success. It's under half, but over fifth.
Perfect. Yeah, that is a hard success. Yeah, regular, hard, extreme. Yeah, you don't really manage to find too much more than what you found.
Okay.
You do find, that it was through Elijah that it basically passed through to Josh, through an uncle that he had. You can see very clearly how the house was transferred from family members down until Josh got it. Sorry. You can see that his uncle died within the past month, so it was relatively handed over quite quick to him. Other than that, though, you find the same information on John Brown, who, went on to make lots of donations and got his name on the university. And then seemingly his family continues on in just regular textiles and different materials like that.
Emma, any further ideas?
I mean, not unless maybe we could get like a blueprint of the house.
Is that possible?
That you're not able to find. You do find like kind of the land location, and you can find like the lot size and everything. You can see that it's close to the river, but other than that, like it doesn't have the official specifications of the house.
Okay. Well, that's just fine, as you would say. Because I picked up your accent.
Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen at some point.
If that's all, suggest we return to where we stay and be ready at 7 a.m.
Very well.
Perfect. And James and Wiley, are you also headed back to the household?
I'm just along for the ride, so
Yeah, we have places we're staying, I assume. Or are we staying at the house?
There was bedrooms set aside at the house for you.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, we'll return to the house.
Perfect.
After we
I brought my dog with me, just so you know. I thought we were staying in a hotel, so that's where they were.
What kind of dog?
German Shepherd.
can I pet the German Shepherd?
Yes.
Best day ever.
I love dogs.
All right, well, with that, everybody returns to the house, and you arrive at different times. Nothing really has changed. You can hear Josh snoring away from his one room just down the hall, and you find your way to various bedrooms. However, deep in the night, every one of you hears a blood-curdling scream, and it awakens you from your sleep. But before we uncover what that is, I think we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to grab some coffee, so we will be right back.
That's so strange. I would never have thought about that. I think our volumes are still on, and I don't know why.
All right, and we are back and highly caffeinated. That's the thing I say. I don't know if you guys know that. Okay.
Never would have guessed.
Never would have guessed. Something to do about coffee, I guess. It's our thing.
I guess.
Yeah, we said that one time. Right before our break, our investigators, who were entirely far too cautious about this whole scenario, which won't have anything bad, heard an ear-piercing, blood-curdling scream in the middle of the night. It was a... we'll tell you what. Everybody can give me a listen roll. And just as a reminder, in case you've forgotten, if you make your roll, make sure you click the little checkbox next to it, and then at the end of the session, we'll make sure we level up.
Sin. Ooh, I failed. Oh, wait, no. What do the double O's mean again? The double zeros?
2
100.
zeros is like a 1 through 9. 3 zeros is 100, and that's the worst you can roll.
Okay, well, I rolled 2 zeros and a 5.
So you got a 5, which is probably... What's your listen?
That would be under the 5th, so...
Oh, so an
Extreme
extreme
success?
success. Wonderful. That was definitely Josh Winscott screaming.
Okay, I'm gonna pull out my gun, my revolver, grab
Come out.
Roxy by the harness, and head out into the hallway.
I come out with pajama pants and a wife beater. My hair a little disheveled, but my mustache is perfect.
Of course.
I'm still dressed.
Always ready.
I sleep in bathtub.
Weirdo. I have on, like, just typical pajama pants and shirt. They're silk and very nice, but I have, like, a robe over top.
I'm gonna go and check Josh's room.
It is
I'm
empty.
right on your heels. Well,
What are you doing with that?
what? This is
A
Roxy.
gun.
Oh,
A gun.
it's not every day you hear someone scream.
I also have a gun, and I am holding my Derringer.
Well, I look at her gun. I'm like, well, you know, it was a spider. Something startled him.
Well, good. We can shoot the spider then.
Shoot the spider.
Generally don't make that kind of noise, and I lost my accent already. God damn it. Generally don't make that kind of noise for a spider. Get back down there somewhere.
I'm gonna call out for him. I'm gonna be like, Josh.
I'm heading for the basement.
No reply.
He's probably the daft fool going into the tunnels alone.
He said, wait until 7 o'clock.
Yes, because everyone is so honest.
Like shooting.
Dottie makes her way down the stairs to the basement.
I would go with her.
She doesn't find anyone, but she does find that the light is on, and she sees a hole where there was obviously a bricked up wall and very dark tunnels beyond.
Tunnels, like plural?
Just one from what you would be able... Well, actually, it would be plural, because from the situation, you can see to your left and to your right. Like, you can see that the tunnel goes left and right.
I'm just gonna holler down the tunnel. I'll be like, what the hell is his name? Josh!
You hear your words echo off of the walls, but there's no reply.
Has anyone checked his room to make sure he's not there?
Yes,
He wasn't
he's
inside.
not there.
Sly. Wiley notices that Charles is still not present.